The observatory's climate-controlled room hummed with the soft whisper of advanced electronics. Dr. Sarah Coleman leaned closer to the quantum spectrum analyzer, her eyes narrowing as an anomalous reading flickered across the holographic display. Something was different about the star field beyond Earth's immediate solar system, a subtle distortion that shouldn't exist. Outside the reinforced windows of the Deep Space Research Center, the night sky appeared unchanged. Distant stars twinkled with their usual indifferent brilliance, unaware of the microscopic disruption catching the attention of the lead researcher. Sarah adjusted the calibration, her fingers moving with the practiced precision of someone who had spent decades studying the intricate dance of cosmic phenomena. The first sign was barely perceptible, a quantum fluctuation so minute that most monitoring systems would have dismissed it as background noise. But the center's cutting-edge equipment was designed to catch even the slightest astronomical anomalies. Sarah's research focused on quantum communication patterns and interstellar signal detection, a field that had earned her considerable respect in the scientific community. A gentle chime from the computer system broke her concentration. The quantum spectrum analyzer had detected a series of synchronized quantum entanglement signatures that defied standard astronomical models. These weren't random cosmic events or natural space phenomena. Something was deliberately manipulating the fabric of space-time in a pattern that suggested intentional design. Sarah called her research partner, Dr. Michael Wong, who was currently working in the facility's secondary monitoring station. "Michael, are you seeing this?" Her voice remained calm, but a subtle tremor of excitement underscored her professional tone. Michael's holographic image materialized beside her, displaying real-time data from his own monitoring systems. His expression matched her growing sense of concern and anticipation. "Those quantum signatures, they're not natural," he confirmed, zooming in on the complex mathematical representations dancing across his display. The research center stood positioned in a remote location, chosen specifically for its minimal electromagnetic interference. Nestled in the mountains of Chile, the facility represented the pinnacle of international scientific collaboration. Governments and private research institutions from around the world had invested billions in this cutting-edge observatory, hoping to unlock the mysteries of deep space communication. As minutes passed, the quantum anomalies began to coalesce into a more definitive pattern. It was like watching an invisible chess game played across light years, with moves so precise and calculated that they suggested something far beyond human technological capabilities. The quantum signatures were creating a complex three-dimensional map, a navigation framework that spoke of extraordinary technological sophistication. Sarah's mind raced through potential explanations. Natural phenomena. Impossible. Cosmic radiation interference. Ruled out by the mathematical precision of the signals. Unknown human technology. Equally unlikely. The only remaining conclusion was both exciting and terrifying. They were witnessing first contact with an extraterrestrial intelligence. The computer system suddenly shifted into a high-alert protocol. Quantum entanglement markers were now generating a predictive spatial model that extended far beyond the current observable range. Something massive was approaching, something that could only be described as a navigational framework for an enormous fleet. "We need to inform the International Space Monitoring Committee," Michael said, his voice steady but loaded with the weight of potential historical significance. Sarah nodded, her mind already calculating the potential implications. First contact scenarios had been theoretical discussions among scientists for decades. Countless simulations, academic papers, and speculative models had attempted to predict humanity's response to extraterrestrial intelligence. But no simulation could prepare them for the real moment. The quantum signature continued to expand, revealing more intricate details. It was a navigational map of unprecedented complexity, suggesting not just a single ship, but a coordinated fleet of massive proportions. The mathematical precision suggested a civilization with technological capabilities far beyond current human understanding. As dawn began to break outside the observatory, casting long shadows across the mountain landscape, Sarah and Michael knew their world was about to change forever. The quantum signatures were no longer just data points on a screen. They were a herald of something unprecedented, a moment that would define human history. First contact was no longer a question of if, but when. The first energy pulse struck without warning. Global defense systems, designed to track and intercept conventional missile threats, proved utterly inadequate against the alien technology. Satellite networks crumbled like glass sculptures, their intricate electronic networks severed in milliseconds by precision strikes that defied human understanding of weaponry. In the International Emergency Command Center beneath Washington, D.C., Colonel Elena Rodriguez watched in stunned silence as holographic displays transformed from complex tracking systems to cascading fields of static. Her team of international defense specialists moved with practiced efficiency, but the chaos was unlike anything in their extensive training scenarios. Communication satellites are down, reported Marcus Chen, the center's lead communications analyst. His fingers danced across multiple interfaces, desperately attempting to re-establish contact with global networks. We're experiencing total blackout in major metropolitan areas. Outside, the sky became a canvas of destruction. Massive alien vessels hung like impossible geometric shapes, their surfaces shifting with an almost liquid-like quality that defied traditional understanding of spacecraft design. Energy beams lanced down with surgical precision, transforming city blocks into clouds of vaporized concrete and steel. In Tokyo, emergency response teams mobilized within minutes of the first strike. Years of disaster preparedness, developed through experiences with earthquakes, tsunamis, and nuclear incidents, now proved invaluable. Underground shelters activated automatically, while communication networks switched to emergency backup systems developed during previous global crises. Colonel Rodriguez understood immediately that this was not a conventional invasion. The alien approach demonstrated a level of strategic thinking that went far beyond simple destruction. They were systematically dismantling human communication and defense infrastructure with calculated precision. "They're targeting our ability to communicate and coordinate," she said to her second-in-command, Major David Kim. "Not just destroying cities, but our capacity to respond." The global military response was a testament to human adaptability. Within hours of the initial strike, military units from different countries began establishing decentralized communication networks. Civilian technology experts, network engineers, and communication specialists were rapidly integrated into emergency response teams. In Mumbai, a group of university researchers quickly repurposed cellular network infrastructure to create an alternative communication grid. Old satellite phones, ham radio systems, and experimental mesh networks became critical lifelines. Where traditional systems failed, human ingenuity found alternatives. The alien fleet maintained a calculated distance from the planet's surface. Their energy weapons could obliterate entire city districts, but they seemed more interested in neutralizing technological infrastructure than in complete planetary destruction. It was as if they were conducting a precise surgical strike against human technological capabilities. Military bases around the world transitioned to emergency protocols developed for worst-case scenarios. Underground command centers, which had seemed like paranoid precautions during peacetime, now proved to be critical survival infrastructure. Specialized units trained in unconventional warfare began mobilizing, understanding that traditional military responses would be ineffective against this technological superiority. In Beijing, a team of quantum computing experts began analyzing the fragments of alien technology captured during the initial strikes. Every destroyed satellite, every disabled communication array became a potential source of intelligence. Scientists worked around the clock, knowing that understanding was their best weapon against an incomprehensible threat. The global economic system began to shift instantaneously. Stock markets went dark, but financial institutions activated contingency plans developed for extreme scenarios. Digital currencies and decentralized financial networks, once considered experimental, now became critical infrastructure for maintaining economic stability. "We're not dealing with a conventional invasion," Colonel Rodriguez briefed her international counterparts through encrypted, low-bandwidth communication channels. This is a systematic dismantling of our technological infrastructure. The alien strategy became clear: isolate, disable, prepare for total conquest. But they had not anticipated the human capacity for rapid adaptation. Every system they destroyed, humans found a way to circumvent or rebuild. Military units began developing communication strategies that didn't rely on traditional electronic networks, using everything from laser communication to modified civilian radio technologies. As the first day of the invasion drew to a close, humanity found itself in a position it had never experienced before. Conventional military power meant nothing. Technological superiority was being challenged by something more powerful: collective human resilience. The invasion had begun, but the fight for Earth was just starting. Deep beneath the ruins of what was once a cutting-edge research facility in Silicon Valley, a hidden bunker hummed with carefully managed electricity. Dr. Rebecca Chen leaned over a holographic display, her fingers tracing complex mathematical patterns that danced between quantum mechanics and advanced communication theory. Around her, a diverse team of specialists worked with an intensity that bordered on desperate creativity. The bunker was more than a simple hideout. It was a nexus of human potential, a carefully assembled team of individuals who represented humanity's most adaptable minds. A former network security expert from Singapore worked alongside a climate systems engineer from Brazil. A retired astronaut collaborated with a theoretical physicist from Nigeria. Each person brought a unique perspective, united by a single purpose: understanding and countering the alien threat. "We're not just trying to survive," Rebecca announced to the team, her voice calm but charged with determination. "We're developing a comprehensive strategy to fight back." The team had spent the first critical hours cataloging everything they knew about the alien invasion. Fragments of intercepted communication signals, debris from destroyed satellites, and limited visual data formed a complex puzzle. Most scientific teams would have been overwhelmed, but this group saw an opportunity where others might have seen only destruction. James Martinez, the network security specialist, had already begun mapping the quantum communication patterns they had detected. "Their technological infrastructure is incredibly complex," he explained, projecting a three-dimensional model of alien communication networks. "But complexity always creates vulnerabilities." Their makeshift research center was a marvel of improvised technology. Repurposed medical scanning equipment interfaced with salvaged communication arrays. Quantum computing modules, cobbled together from research-grade equipment and consumer electronics, created a processing power that rivaled pre-invasion supercomputers. Outside the bunker, the world had changed dramatically. Major cities lay in partial ruin, their skylines broken and smoking, but humanity had not been defeated. Emergency shelters, communication networks, and resistance groups were forming with remarkable speed. The alien invaders had underestimated the human capacity for collective action. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a quantum physicist who had joined the team, began developing a revolutionary approach. "Their communication network is their greatest strength," she explained, her fingers dancing across a holographic interface. "But it's also their potential weakness." The team worked in shifts, maximizing their limited resources. Solar panels and wind generators provided carefully rationed electricity. Water filtration systems recycled every drop. Food was sourced from hydroponics labs integrated into the bunker's infrastructure. They had prepared for a long-term resistance. Communication with other resistance groups came through carefully encrypted channels. Small pockets of scientists, engineers, and strategic thinkers were emerging worldwide, sharing information and developing counter-strategies. The aliens might have destroyed traditional communication infrastructure, but they couldn't eliminate human creativity. "We're looking for patterns," Rebecca told the team during a strategy session, "not just in their technological systems, but in their entire approach to invasion. Every complex system has a fundamental weakness." The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Lai Wei, the climate systems engineer, noticed subtle correlations between the alien communication signals and quantum entanglement principles. It was a connection that required thinking beyond traditional technological boundaries, exactly the kind of lateral thinking humans excelled at. Their communication network, Lai explained, operates on principles that assume a completely linear approach to information transfer. But what if we introduce controlled chaos? The team began developing a strategy that was part technological hack, part mathematical poetry. They weren't just trying to break the alien communication systems, they were attempting to understand and then fundamentally disrupt them. Outside the bunker, resistance groups worldwide were doing the same. Universities transformed into research centers. Libraries became communication hubs. Every person with a technical background became a potential weapon in humanity's defense. As night fell, the team continued their work. The holographic displays cast an ethereal glow across determined faces. They were more than survivors. They were the first line of humanity's counterattack. The invasion had begun with the aliens believing they would find a simple, conquerable species. They were about to discover how wrong they were. The breakthrough began with a melody. Not a musical composition in the traditional sense, but a complex quantum signal pattern that young programmer Kai Wang discovered hidden within the alien communication networks. He had been analyzing intercepted data fragments for weeks, working in a makeshift lab constructed from salvaged computer parts and innovative engineering. "Listen to this," Kai said to Dr. Rebecca Chen, pulling up a holographic display that transformed mathematical data into a visual and auditory representation. The signal danced with intricate complexity, revealing layers of communication that seemed to pulse with an almost organic rhythm. Their hidden research facility had become a testament to human ingenuity. Located in an abandoned underground research complex, the team had transformed limited resources into a powerful analysis center. Solar panels and wind turbines provided carefully managed electricity. Hydroponic gardens supplemented their food supply, while advanced water filtration systems ensured their survival. The quantum algorithm they were developing was unlike any previous communication disruption method. Traditional cybersecurity involved breaking through firewalls or exploiting system vulnerabilities. This approach was different. It sought to understand the fundamental language of the alien communication network. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the quantum physicist leading the research, explained the concept to the team. "We're not just trying to break their communication," she said, her hands moving expressively as she manipulated holographic data models. "We're attempting to understand their entire communication philosophy." Kay's discovery revealed something remarkable. The alien communication network operated on principles that assumed absolute predictability. Each signal was part of a complex but fundamentally linear system. Humans, by contrast, thrived on unpredictability and creative problem-solving. "Their technology is incredible," Kai explained, "but it's also rigid. Every communication follows a precise mathematical model. But what happens when we introduce controlled randomness?" The team began developing a quantum algorithm that would do exactly that. They would create a communication virus that didn't just disrupt the alien network, but fundamentally challenged its underlying communication principles. It was a strategy that combined advanced quantum mechanics with the kind of creative thinking that defined human innovation. Global resistance groups started sharing information through carefully encrypted channels. Universities transformed into research hubs. Libraries became communication centers. Every person with technical knowledge became a potential contributor to humanity's survival strategy. Dr. Rodriguez worked alongside specialists from diverse backgrounds. A climate engineer from Brazil provided insights into complex system dynamics. A retired astronaut contributed understanding of communication challenges in extreme environments. A network security expert from Singapore helped develop encryption strategies. The quantum algorithm took shape as a living, evolving system. Unlike traditional computer viruses, this was a dynamic entity that could adapt and learn. It would identify patterns in the alien communication network and then introduce subtle disruptions that would grow exponentially. "We're creating a communication counterintelligence system," Dr. Rodriguez explained during a strategy meeting. Something that doesn't just attack their network, but fundamentally challenges how they understand communication. Kay's programming skills proved crucial. He developed a neural network approach that could learn and adapt in real time. The algorithm would analyze alien communication patterns, identify vulnerabilities, and then exploit them in ways the invaders could never predict. The team worked in carefully managed shifts, maximizing their limited resources. Solar-powered computers hummed quietly. Hydroponic gardens provided fresh vegetables. Water recycling systems ensured their survival. Every resource was carefully managed, every moment focused on their critical mission. As weeks passed, the quantum algorithm began to take shape. It was more than a simple computer program. It was a living system of human creativity, mathematical precision, and unbounded imagination. The alien invaders had believed they were facing a simple, conquerable species. They were about to discover how wrong they were. Humanity's greatest weapon was not advanced technology, but the ability to think beyond established boundaries. The technological breakthrough was coming, and with it, a new chapter in human history was about to begin. The Zorn fleet commanders observed human behavior with increasing confusion. Their advanced analysis systems struggled to comprehend the seemingly chaotic response to their invasion. Where other civilizations would have collapsed, humans responded with a strategy that defied all predictive models. Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her team had discovered the critical weakness in the alien approach. The invaders operated on a hierarchical communication system that valued absolute predictability and linear thinking. Humans, by contrast, thrived on adaptability and unexpected solutions. "They're trying to understand us through a completely rigid framework," explained Michael Chen, a behavioral psychologist working with the resistance. But human behavior doesn't fit into neat, predictable categories. The resistance began implementing a strategy of controlled unpredictability. Supply lines were disrupted through methods that seemed nonsensical to the alien commanders. Industrial robots were reprogrammed to create complex patterns of movement that appeared random but were carefully calculated. Consumer technologies became unexpected tools of resistance. In Tokyo, a group of network engineers transformed a city's traffic management system into a complex communication network. Traffic lights, electronic billboards, and transportation infrastructure became a hidden communication grid that the aliens couldn't easily decode. What looked like urban chaos was actually a sophisticated communication system. Sao Paulo saw engineers repurpose agricultural drone technology to create a distributed communication and surveillance network. Irrigation systems, previously used for crop management, now served as a method of tracking alien movements and sharing critical intelligence. The psychological warfare went beyond technological disruption. The resistance understood that the alien invaders viewed conflict through a completely linear perspective. Humans introduced elements of creativity, spontaneity, and apparent irrationality that completely overwhelmed the invaders' analytical systems. They expect a certain response, Dr. Rodriguez told her team during a strategy session. So we'll give them something entirely unexpected. Military strategists developed approaches that seemed counterintuitive. Instead of concentrating defensive forces, they created highly mobile, rapidly changing units that could appear and disappear with minimal predictability. Traditional military doctrine was completely reimagined. In Cape Town, a team of designers and engineers developed holographic decoy systems that could create multiple false signatures of human activity. These were more than simple camouflage. They were complex psychological tools designed to confuse and misdirect the alien analysis systems. The global resistance began to function like a massive, distributed intelligence network. Universities became research centers. Libraries transformed into communication hubs. Every person with technical knowledge became a potential contributor to humanity's survival strategy. "We're not just fighting," Michael Chen explained. "We're fundamentally challenging their understanding of conflict." The psychological strategy extended to every level of human interaction. Emergency communication systems used complex encoding methods that went beyond traditional encryption. Messages were designed to be partially incomprehensible, with layers of meaning that would confuse any linear analysis. Artificial intelligence systems developed by the Resistance began to create communication patterns that mimicked human creativity. These were not simple predictive algorithms, but dynamic systems that could introduce controlled randomness and unexpected solutions. In New Delhi, a team of mathematicians developed communication algorithms based on principles of chaos theory. These systems could generate patterns that were simultaneously complex and unpredictable, challenging the aliens' understanding of information transfer. The Zorn fleet commanders found themselves facing a fundamentally different type of opponent. Their advanced analysis systems, designed to predict and control, began to break down when confronted with human creativity. Every attempt to understand human behavior resulted in more confusion. "They're trying to solve us like a mathematical equation," Dr. Rodriguez told her team. "But we're not an equation. We're something far more complex." As weeks passed, the psychological strategy began to take its toll on the alien invasion force. Their rigid communication systems became increasingly ineffective. Every attempt to predict human behavior failed spectacularly. The invasion had begun with the aliens believing they would find a simple, conquerable species. They were about to discover how wrong they were. Humanity's greatest weapon was not advanced technology, but the ability to think beyond established boundaries. The psychological warfare was just beginning. The global counteroffensive began not with a single massive strike, but with thousands of coordinated, seemingly independent actions. From the mountains of Peru to the research centers of South Korea, humanity transformed into a living, breathing resistance network. In the hidden research facility beneath the Chilean Andes, Dr. Rebecca Chen connected with resistance groups through a complex communication network that defied traditional understanding. Satellite fragments, repurposed communication equipment, and innovative quantum transmission technologies created a web of communication more resilient than any single system. "We're not just fighting," she told her international team during a strategy briefing. "We're reimagining how we defend our planet." The counteroffensive utilized every available resource. Universities became research hubs. Libraries transformed into communication centers. Factories that once produced consumer goods now manufactured specialized resistance equipment. Every person with technical knowledge became a potential weapon in humanity's defense. In Mumbai, a group of software engineers developed a distributed computing network that could process vast amounts of alien communication data. They used everything from abandoned smartphones to repurposed medical imaging equipment, creating a processing power that rivaled pre-invasion supercomputers. A team in Lagos developed innovative electromagnetic disruption technologies. They discovered that by creating complex interference patterns, they could temporarily blind alien sensor systems. What looked like simple radio noise was actually a sophisticated communication and defense strategy. Agricultural drones in Brazil were transformed into reconnaissance and communication platforms. Irrigation systems became complex sensor networks. Farmers who once managed crops now played a critical role in the global resistance, their technological skills becoming a crucial defensive asset. The resistance understood that traditional military strategies would fail against the technologically superior invaders. Instead, they developed a fluid, adaptive approach that emphasized mobility, creativity, and unexpected action. Major David Kim, coordinating with international defense strategists, explained their approach. "We're not fighting a conventional war," he told a gathering of resistance leaders. "We're creating a living, adaptive defense system that can respond and change faster than the invaders can predict." In Tokyo, a network of engineers and designers developed holographic decoy systems that could create multiple false signatures of human activity. These were more than simple camouflage. They were complex psychological tools designed to confuse and misdirect alien analysis systems. The global resistance began to function like a massive, distributed intelligence network. Communication happened through encrypted channels that used quantum entanglement principles. Messages were designed to be partially incomprehensible, with layers of meaning that would confuse linear analysis. Artificial intelligence systems developed by the Resistance created communication patterns that mimicked human creativity. These were not simple predictive algorithms, but dynamic systems that could introduce controlled randomness and unexpected solutions. Satellite fragments and repurposed communication equipment created a communication web that was impossible for the alien invaders to fully comprehend. Each resistance group developed its own communication protocols, making the entire network essentially unbreakable. In Cape Town, a team combined medical imaging technology with quantum communication principles to develop advanced sensor systems. What once tracked human health now became a tool for detecting and disrupting alien technological systems. The counteroffensive was not just about defense. Resistance groups began to actively probe the aliens' technological weaknesses. Every destroyed alien probe, every intercepted communication signal became an opportunity to understand and exploit their systems. "We're turning their technology against them," Dr. Chen explained during a global strategy session. The holographic display showed a complex network of resistance actions, each point representing a group fighting in its own unique way. As weeks passed, the alien invasion force found itself increasingly confused. Their advanced analysis systems, designed to predict and control, began to break down when confronted with human creativity. Every attempt to understand human behavior resulted in more confusion. The invasion had begun with the aliens believing they would find a simple, conquerable species. They were about to discover how wrong they were. Humanity's greatest weapon was not advanced technology, but the ability to think beyond established boundaries. The global counteroffensive was more than a military strategy. It was a testament to human adaptability, creativity, and unbreakable spirit. The moment of transformation began in the quantum research facility hidden beneath the Andes Mountains. Dr. Rebecca Chen and her team had spent weeks developing a revolutionary communication disruption algorithm that was about to change everything. "We're not just breaking their communication," Rebecca explained to her team. "We're fundamentally rewriting the rules of their technological interaction." The quantum algorithm they had developed was unlike any previous communication disruption method. It wasn't a simple virus or a traditional hacking technique. Instead, it was a living, adaptive system that could learn and modify the alien communication networks from within. As the algorithm began its deployment, something extraordinary happened. The alien fleet's communication systems started to fragment in ways their commanders could not comprehend. Signals became distorted, command structures collapsed, and the once precise technological network began to unravel. In orbit above Earth, the alien fleet experienced its first true moment of vulnerability. Their quantum communication network, the backbone of their technological superiority, began to develop inexplicable fluctuations. Ships that were once perfectly synchronized now sent conflicting signals. Navigation systems became unreliable. Weapon coordination collapsed. Major David Kim watched from the underground command center as the first signs of disruption became visible. Holographic displays showed the alien fleet's communication patterns breaking down in real time. What had seemed like an impenetrable technological fortress was now revealing its fundamental weakness. The breakthrough came from an unexpected combination of scientific disciplines. Quantum physicists worked alongside communication experts, mathematicians, and artificial intelligence specialists. They had discovered that the alien communication system, for all its complexity, was fundamentally linear in its approach. Humans don't think in straight lines, Dr. Elena Rodriguez explained during a critical strategy session. And now, neither will their technology. The quantum algorithm introduced controlled chaos into the alien communication network. It wasn't about destroying their technology, but about making it fundamentally unreliable. Command signals became garbled. Navigation systems developed inexplicable errors. Weapon coordination collapsed. Resistance groups worldwide began to see the effects immediately. Alien weapon systems became increasingly unpredictable. Defensive shields flickered and failed. The technological superiority that had seemed insurmountable just weeks ago was now crumbling. In Tokyo, a team of engineers tracked the algorithm's progression through intercepted alien communication fragments. They watched in awe as the most advanced technological system they had ever encountered began to fall apart from within. The breaking point came suddenly and dramatically. Alien ships began to turn on each other, their communication systems so thoroughly compromised that they could no longer distinguish friend from foe. What had been a precise, coordinated invasion force was now a chaotic collection of confused technological entities. Rebecca Chen and her team worked around the clock, monitoring the algorithm's progression. They had created something more than a simple communication disruptor. It was a living system that could adapt, learn, and continuously challenge the alien technological infrastructure. "We're not just fighting," she told her team. "We're fundamentally changing how they understand communication and technology." The global resistance watched in collective anticipation. Every resistance group, from the research centers of Sao Paulo to the communication hubs of Lagos, contributed to the ongoing effort. The quantum algorithm was a truly global achievement, a testament to human collaboration and creativity. Military strategists began to develop new approaches based on the changing alien technological landscape. Traditional defensive strategies were replaced by more fluid, adaptive methods that could respond to the increasingly chaotic alien communication systems. As the alien fleet began to fragment, something unexpected happened. The invaders' technological systems started to reveal vulnerabilities that went far beyond their communication network. Their entire approach to technological interaction was being challenged. The breaking point was more than a military victory. It was a fundamental challenge to the aliens' understanding of technological superiority. Humans had not just defended themselves. They had demonstrated a level of adaptive thinking that the invaders could never have anticipated. Admiral Krelax, the alien fleet commander, watched in mounting horror as the invasion force began to collapse. The technological superiority they had relied on for countless conquests was now their greatest weakness. Humanity had done more than survive. They had transformed the very nature of technological conflict. The final moment of victory arrived not with a massive explosion or a dramatic space battle, but with a subtle quantum transmission that echoed across the galaxy. Dr. Rebecca Chen stood in the underground research facility, her fingers hovering over the final activation sequence of a transmission that would change everything. "This is more than a message," she told her team. "This is a statement about who we are." The quantum transmission was a complex mathematical symphony, a communication that went beyond simple language. It was a representation of human creativity, resilience, and unexpected potential. Every line of code, every quantum signature carried the collective spirit of human resistance. Across the planet, resistance groups watched and waited. From the research centers of Mumbai to the communication hubs of Sao Paulo, humanity held its collective breath. The alien fleet, once in seemingly invincible force, now hung in disarray above Earth's atmosphere. Major David Kim coordinated with global defense teams, monitoring the final stages of the resistance strategy. The quantum algorithm developed by Dr. Chen's team had done more than disrupt alien communications. It had fundamentally challenged their entire technological approach. The alien fleet commander, Admiral Krelax, experienced something unprecedented. The technological systems that had guided countless conquests were now failing in ways that defied all previous understanding. What had seemed like absolute technological superiority was now revealed as a rigid, inflexible approach to interstellar conflict. In Tokyo, a team of engineers tracked the transmission's progression. They had spent weeks developing communication techniques that could penetrate and challenge the alien technological infrastructure. Now, they watched as their collective effort began to bear fruit. The quantum transmission did more than communicate. It demonstrated the fundamental difference between human and alien approaches to technology and communication. Where the aliens saw communication as a linear, predictable process, humans understood it as a dynamic, creative endeavor. Resistance groups worldwide began to see the full impact of their efforts. Alien weapon systems that had once seemed unstoppable now flickered and failed. Defensive shields collapsed. The technological superiority that had appeared insurmountable just weeks ago was now crumbling. Dr. Elena Rodriguez explained the significance to her team. "We're not just defending ourselves," she said. "We're showing the universe who we are as a species." The transmission carried more than just a message of resistance. It was a complex mathematical representation of human potential, creativity, adaptability, and an ability to find solutions in the most unexpected places. Each quantum signature told a story of human ingenuity. Global communication networks, once thought destroyed, began to reassemble. But they were different now, more resilient, more adaptive. The resistance had learned to build communication systems that could survive and thrive under the most challenging conditions. In Cape Town, a group of scientists began analyzing the transmission's impact. They discovered that the quantum algorithm had done more than disrupt alien technology. It had fundamentally challenged the invaders' understanding of communication and conflict. The breaking point came not with a massive military victory, but with a demonstration of human potential. The aliens had come expecting a simple conquest. Instead, they found a species capable of turning their most advanced technology against them. Admiral Krelax watched in mounting confusion as the invasion force began to fragment. The technological systems that had guided countless conquests were now failing in ways that defied all previous understanding. Humanity had done more than defend itself. It had redefined the very nature of technological conflict. As the alien fleet began to retreat, Dr. Chen activated the final sequence of the quantum transmission. It was a message that would echo across the galaxy, a statement about human potential that went far beyond simple language. The transmission carried the collective spirit of human resistance. It spoke of creativity, of adaptability, of an ability to find solutions in the most unexpected places. Each quantum signature told a story of human ingenuity. Humanity had not just survived. They had transformed the very nature of interstellar conflict. The universe would never be the same.